In case you missed it, Your Name came out in the month of April, and we both really liked it.
The day a star fell, it was almost like
seeing something out of a dream. Nothing more or less
than a breathtaking view.
I loved it.
I'm Logan.
And I'm Alex, and welcome to Box Office's Brews, first new segment, in case you missed it.
Basically, we're here to just gush about movies that we wanted to see on our own time, but couldn't fit into the main monthly review, which you should totally watch, because we put a lot of hard work into that episode, and the audio was actually working. And we worked really, really hard to review 4 of the best movies of April, but the one that we couldn't fit in, unfortunately, was Your Name.
Well, this was one of those movies that we wouldn't really plan on seeing, and you had texted me, you had seen it, and you're like, we need to talk about this movie. I had expressed interest. First, we should just say, what's the deal? This movie is an anime. Mm-hmm. That's the big deal. It's an anime that came...
A year here a year later.
It was already released in Japan, but it's unusual to get a Western release for something like this, and it really didn't get a lot of press. Mm-hmm. But it had surprisingly a lot of showings.
Yeah,
a lot more than Ghost in the Shell, ironically.
Ghost in the Shell and Colossal.
Which Colossal had very limited release here with Anne Hathaway and Jason Sudeikis. Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, Your Name had I saw the local AMC. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of showings for it.
At the Regal where I saw it, had both subtitled and with English dub.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. You said you saw it, and you said you saw it in subtitles. Mm-hmm. So tell us, that's awesome. I saw mine in dubbed.
Yeah. Well, I watch my anime subbed, not dubbed.
放課後悪い俺今日これからバイト
もうこんな田舎やだよこんな人生やだ来世は東京のイケメン男子にしてください
I agree. I prefer it that way myself.
Yeah, I enjoy the original Japanese voice acting more often than not, but I guess that's usually because I watch both. With a lot of anime that I've watched, when I was younger, I watched the English dub first, and then when you watch the Japanese version with subtitles, the voice acting is usually much better. But
it's in its raw format. I mean, I think any foreign film should really be seen in its native language. Mm-hmm.
But the voice acting, because I didn't see it, how was it in the
English version? I didn't know you could see it in Japanese. I remember walking in being like, "Oh, I hope this is Japanese." Forget it. But I loved it. The English dubs were fine. At no point did I feel that they weren't being true to the emotions and the dialogue that was happening in Japan. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, because of the fact that it was in English, instead of reading the dialogue, I was able to actually watch the movie and see the stunning visuals. I mean, this movie was fucking gorgeous. Beautiful movie.
Yes.
But not just, the animation is flawless, but the background artwork is so clean, it's so precise. There are points when anything with architecture or anything with any still life, anything in the background that just needs to be rendered, it was painted so perfectly that I would have thought it was a background from any real life movie. Yeah. It could have been a matte painting from the 70s or 80s. It was gorgeous.
I will definitely agree.
And not even whether it was just like trash cans or even the behind of a building. Well, it was so specific and beautiful that I was into every detail.
That's what's different about anime is a lot of anime has a lot more moments in it than a lot of Western film and animation where it's just a reflection of the mood and the environment, where it'll spend a couple seconds just looking at a building or some trees in the woods or a pond, and just you get to look at this thing for 3 or 4 seconds. And
it's a throwaway shot, but you can tell someone spent hours on this painting. It's gorgeous,
and it just really sets the mood.
It sets a mood. And speaking of what is this movie? What is this movie about? What is the deal?
So this movie, the main premise is there's the two main characters, Mitsuha and Taki. They randomly switch bodies overnight. It's not a thing that happens every night. It's just random, and
there's no schedule for it. It's a body switching movie.
Yeah, but Mitsuha lives in the country. Yeah. Taki lives in Tokyo, and they both sort of want a different life. So it's got that main trope of the grass is green on the other side thing, but it really spins it on its head in this movie in that they both learn from each other. They know that this body switching thing is happening, and they learn from that experience.
Well, they learn slowly. The first 30 minutes of the movie is kind of shaky because, by shaky I just mean you're not sure what's going on as an audience member, and they're not sure what's going on. and so you're figuring out as they're figuring it out. It's written so well that once they realize what's going on, you're like, oh my god, I get it. And but unlike other body switching tropes, it's not just like, oh, what do we do to fix this? They start to learn from their experiences.
And they leave notes
for each other.
Yeah.
They start to learn about each other, and they start in weird ways to enhance each other's lives. But not unlike, again, the trope of the traditional body switching movies. They're not like, oh, I now know what it's like to be 30.
Yeah, like, oh, I don't need to live in the city. That's too much for me.
Right? No. In fact, they actually realize that the two of them are more alike than they would even care to believe, and that we're not going to get into spoilers because we really want you to go see this movie. I mean, there's so much more to it, but they learn from each other's behaviors, but they still have sort of a bitterness to each other. It's a romance. If you're going to define it by any one kind, I mean, it's a romance
like
/ drama.
Paranormal drama.
Para-romance.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful, and you will cry. I hope if you don't cry, man, that's when you're dead inside. I don't know. What
this movie, it definitely touches
it's just
on a lot of emotions. Yeah, like
you don't expect. Yeah, you don't know what to watch. You're like, I'm going to watch a cartoon. You're like, oh, this is sweet.
Yeah, it's a very good story, and personally, it touches on a lot of different parts of my life, at least. Like, it inspired me to, like, I feel like I want to travel more. Like, I want to travel around. I want to meet more people. I want to, like, bring my friends with me on, like, a trip across the country. Like,
well, anime has that ability, I think, a lot of times to inspire you no matter what. And I think, I was just saying, like, if you're an artist, you're going to want to draw. If you're a writer, you're going to want to write. If you're young, you want to travel. If you want to love, you're going to want to love.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds corny, but dude, watch the movie.
Yeah,
you're gonna be full of corn.
It is that cheesy.
I can't gush enough about it. I loved every second of it. It was so engrossing. I couldn't. I had my notebook with me, and I didn't write a single note.
Exactly.
I was like, fuck that. I want to watch this movie. It's so good.
Yeah.
This month was so difficult to find good movies, and we reviewed 4 of them in our usual show.
Most of them ended up being pretty
mediocre at best. This movie is hands down my favorite movie of the month.
Yep.
It's a shame we didn't include it, but I think we separated it on purpose.
Because it's that special.
It's like, really good.
It's special in
just
that we got a Western release, and I hope this is like an influence to a lot of other like Japanese animated films, or just animated films from across the world.
Hollywood should have blown this up. I mean, it was in so many theaters. I don't understand why it was almost. It went unseen. So our humble little channel is doing what it can. We loved this movie, and we wanted.
That's what we're here to do. We're here. Basically, this whole segment was started just because of this movie. We just really want to highly recommend that you guys go see it if you get the opportunity. Do whatever you can.
If it's still in theaters by the time this is released, go catch one.
Yeah.
I guarantee you won't regret it.
If not, I'm sure you can rent it online somewhere.
Whatever. Do people still rent stuff?
I mean, on Amazon, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Digital services.
Can you stream it? Go to Blockbuster. The last one. There's gotta be a Blockbuster somewhere. This movie was beautiful, and it was refreshing, and it's the kind of thing I'd like to see more of.
Exactly.
Go see Your Name.
Please.
Cheers.